Uncharted Golden Abyss was undoubtedly the most high-profile game in the Vita's launch lineup. The developers, Bend Studio, had the difficult task of creating a title that would showcase what the Vita was capable of, while also making a game that lived up to the critical acclaim of the Uncharted series. For the most part, they succeeded. Golden Abyss had the core gameplay, style and story of a console Uncharted game, but made to be a portable experience and to make use of the Vita's various control inputs. It was expected to be the game that justified the purchase of a Vita, and although the final product turned out very well, it didn't quite hit the high expectations of critics. Bend Studio were no strangers to making portable games. They were most famous for the stealth action Siphon Filter series on PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2, which transitioned to PSP in 2006 with Siphon Filter Dark Mirror. But they had also developed Resistance Retribution for Sony's PlayStation Portable, which was praised by reviewers for its solid gameplay and short missions that perfectly suited gaming on the go. Golden Abyss had series protagonist Nathan Drake competing with rival explorer Jason Dante to find the treasures of the lost city of Quivira. Golden Abyss was set before the events of the first Uncharted game, which justified the exclusion of Elena Fisher, Drake's love interest through the console series. Instead, Marissa Chase was a new character to the series, and together with Drake worked to uncover the location of the lost city and reach it before Dante and his partner, the warlord Roberto Guerrero, could. The Uncharted series on console was developed by one of Sony's most talented studios, Naughty Dog. The series was well known for entertaining stories, excellent voice acting, cinematic set pieces, stunning graphics, and solid third-person shooting gameplay. Golden Abyss managed to tick most of those boxes, but also shifted some of the focus from story to puzzle solving, exploration, and treasure hunting. The action set pieces were significantly scaled back, but the gameplay, script, and voice acting retained the feel of a Naughty Dog game. Searching for collectibles had been a standard part of all Uncharted games, but Golden Abyss emphasized the treasure hunting far more and innovated on the formula, which made Drake feel like more of an adventurer. Collectibles weren't just items to be found in the environment. In Golden Abyss, Drake would take photos of notable locations, use charcoal rubbings to decipher hieroglyphics, and pick up key items from defeated enemy soldiers. As the player found each collectible, Drake could be seen making notes in his journal, giving the feeling that he was more than just the wall-scaling, gun-toting action hero he had always been portrayed as being. Of course, action was still a big part of the game. Drake had to contend with Guerrero's army of soldiers wielding guns, grenades, and rocket launchers to defeat the villains and reach the treasure. The third-person shooter mechanics were practically unchanged from the console games. Players familiar with the controls of the console Uncharted games would feel right at home in playing Golden Abyss. Drake would take cover behind walls, shoot enemies, and use melee combat when enemies were close. Hanging off the edge of a cliff while engaging in a firefight with a group of enemy soldiers felt just as tense in Golden Abyss as it did in the console Uncharted games. The Vita's various unique control inputs were featured heavily in the game. Players could traverse walls using the touchscreen, swipe the screen with their fingers to melee attack enemies, move the Vita as if it were a sniper scope to aim shots at enemies, hold up the Vita to light to solve puzzles with the back camera, rub the screen to emulate taking a charcoal rubbing of ancient symbols, or flinging grenades at enemies using the finger. For the most part, the variety of controls worked to make the game more immersive. However, the touchscreen melee combat sections drew criticisms for being imprecise, especially during the final fight of the game. The game also made use of the Vita's Near application to trade treasure with other players close by, although the Near app was later shut down in 2017. Years after its release, Golden Abyss is still one of the best-looking games on the Vita. The realistic backdrops and environments were unlike anything seen previously on a portable system as at the time of its launch, and the colors of the lush forest looked especially impressive on the OLED Vita screen. Even the rippling of the water looked better and more detailed than some console games at the time. Golden Abyss launched 4 months after Uncharted 3: Drake's Deception was released on the PlayStation 3. And it was expected that Golden Abyss would benefit in terms of sales and media attention from the success of Uncharted 3. Golden Abyss was the best-selling video game in the UK on the week of its release, and remained in the top 40 best-selling games chart for a month. Play Magazine UK's June 2012 edition revealed that Uncharted Golden Abyss was the top-selling Vita game up to that point, selling 530,000 units worldwide. In November 2012, Sony began giving Uncharted Golden Abyss to PS Plus subscribers as part of its instant game collection. It remained free to PS Plus subscribers until June 2014. Reviews were positive for the most part, resulting in a Metacritic score of 80%. The game was praised for its story, presentation, use of the Vita's controls, for the most part, and its focus on collectibles and treasure hunting. Lack of any big set pieces and lack of online multiplayer were two common criticisms of Golden Abyss, as these have become staples of the series on console. Other criticisms include lack of variety to the environments, secondary characters less interesting than those featured in the console games, and the tedious touchscreen controls for the fistfights in the game. It may not have been the best Uncharted game, but Golden Abyss was praised for retaining the feel and experience of the big-budget console series. Uncharted Golden Abyss lived up to the console experience on a handheld, and as a launch title, it demonstrated what the Vita was capable of in terms of gameplay, graphics, and use of all its control features. In a detailed post-mortem of the game with GamasuTra.com, writer and director John Garvin said, "Even though development was stressful and meant many months of hard work, I'm glad our studio took on the challenge and rose to it. The development of Uncharted Golden Abyss was far from a perfect process, and the game isn't perfect either. But as a studio, we're proud of what we accomplished, and we're excited to put these lessons to work on our next game." Let me know in the comments, guys, have you played Uncharted Golden Abyss, and what did you think of it? Leave a comment below, and as always, thanks for watching.